What's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. If this is the first time we're meeting, my name is Oliver, and on this channel we talk about education and early career development in Finland. And during these weekly live streams, I answer your most burning questions about living, studying, and working in Finland. And how these live streams actually work is that in the description box below, there is a link to a Google form. And if you want me to answer your question live, I would ask you to post your question into the Google form, because that way I will get all of the questions here in front of me on the computer, and I will be able to get to your questions in a first come, first serve basis. Before we jump into the first questions, there were actually a couple of questions left from last week. I will first link the stream to our Discord server, and if you are not for some reason yet a member of our Discord server, I highly recommend that you consider joining. The idea of the server is to build a community of people interested in living, studying, and working in Finland. And in the server, there's over 600 of us already there. We're helping each other out, answering each other's questions about the previous topics, and I post updates about upcoming videos and live streams just like this one. Suresh Matan, welcome to the stream. What's up? Hopefully you're doing good. Hopefully you're staying safe and healthy, and I hope that it's not as warm and hot and sweaty where you are as it is in Helsinki right now. It's absolutely unbearable here in Helsinki at this point, especially inside. We don't have good ACs, especially here at the office, and I'm sweating like crazy. It's over 30 degrees right now, especially here inside, around 30 degrees outside, and that's just way too much for Finnish people. And you can see I'm sweating like no one's business, which is not really nice when you're trying to stream. Ken Vare, what's up? Welcome to the stream. Jet Koti, my man, welcome back as always. M. Dobry, what's up? Welcome to the stream as well. Kira, welcome to you as well. Guys, you know the drill. If you have any questions, there's the link to the Google form in the description box below. And if you have any questions, just post your questions there and I will get to them in the order that they come in. Talking of which, let's jump into the first question, which comes from last week, from Honor. And Honor is still in high school, interested in doing a degree in some of the top 500 universities in the world, doing a bachelor's in engineering and economics. And the question is, can you tell us about the most liberal and conservative cities in Finland, just to get an idea about the regions? I'm asking this from you because I was not successful at my attempts to finding any information about this online. Thanks for helping us. Also, sorry for including politics in the channel, but I'd like to get an idea about that, which would be important for me, and not saying which side I prefer to avoid all arguments. Yeah, this is actually an interesting point, and I've actually never really thought about it. So you have to take into account that Finland is relatively speaking, or contextually speaking, a very progressive country. Some people use the term liberal, some use the term left, some use the word social democratic. Whatever the term that you use, I really hate political terms. And again, this is not a political channel, but you have to take into account that Finland, as well as the other Nordic countries, are very progressive in their politics. And this also applies to especially the large cities. So I would say that there's really no big difference between the big cities in Finland in terms of the overall politics. The biggest differences you can see between big cities and, for example, when you go outside the cities to more rural areas. So, for example, if you just look at how the country is divided by the different parties, political parties, the biggest changes are from when changes you can see the biggest changes between big cities, and then more rural areas. So I would say that this is a very good question. I cannot really give you any more context around this, because I would say that that Finland is overall very, very liberal, especially socially. Some people are a bit more conservative when it comes to economics. However, again, that's a difficult question for me to answer. Joseph Matondang, welcome to the stream as well, saying, wow, yeah, 30 degrees, just like home. That's very funny. It's absolutely unbearable. As you can guys see, I'm just sweating. It feels like I was just having a swim just now. It's absolutely unbearable, and I luckily I have drinks here next to me so that I don't pass out during the stream. But Jet got is saying Helsinki got grilled. Yeah, pretty much. And the worst part is that the forecasts say that this is going to continue. And it is absolutely insane. Insane. I haven't been able to sleep in so many weeks, at least not well. So I'm just waiting for milder weather. Suresh, welcome to the stream. Ritesh joined as well. Salve 25 Pilande, welcome to the stream. We have also Abdel Rahman Mohammed, welcome to the stream as well. We have Prabesh, welcome everyone to the stream. You know the drill. If you have any questions that you would like me to answer live, there's a link to a Google form in the description box below. Oh, and actually in this chat, which I will link there right now. And if you want me to answer your question, make sure to post your question in the form. That's the best way to make sure. Let's see, in Finland, Jetcot is saying, in Finland, you still got a lot of choices, be it left or right. It really is a multi-party system. That is absolutely true. That's actually a very good point. So Finland is actually, I would say, a pretty rare country in a sense that we have a multi-party system. We have a huge amount of different parties sitting at the same time in the parliament. And of course, you have the government itself, and then you have the opposing parties as well. However, we have a very strong multi-party system, so it's not divided, for example, left with the left and right like you have, for example, in the United States. So that's kind of cool. All right. Prabesh asking, why isn't Finland a cold country? Why is the weather so hot? So it's summer now, as Joseph is saying in the chat. So we actually get very heavy seasons between winter, autumn, spring, and then summer. And during winter, of course, depending on a bit where you are in the country, you can get you can go as low as minus 30 degrees Celsius. But then during the summer, these kind of very hot weather, for example, plus 30 degrees Celsius. This is extremely rare to Finland, and this has been a very exceptional year. However, during the summer, on average, it's somewhere around 20-ish degrees Celsius, plus or minus some degrees to both directions. But do take into account that we have very strong seasons, so the changes in weather during the year are very, very strong. Let's see. Continuing on the topic, Ritesh saying, hey Oliver, happy summers. Thank you very much. But your weather is still better than in New Delhi. Want to know about housing? If I haven't got an offer from AYY or HOAS, where can I look for good options? So please be patient. Do take into account that it's still mid-July, so you will still have quite a lot of time to be offered an apartment, especially if you're coming to Aalto. You still have more than a month and a half for them to offer you an apartment. However, if you are not if you don't get an offer from them before mid-August, I would start looking for a private market apartment. In that case, I would just simply Google apartments Helsinki, and you will find multiple different pages where you can websites where you can actually through which you can actually rent an apartment in Helsinki. So that would be my suggestion right now. There are multiple websites, so I don't want to go through all of them right now live. Anyways, Jet Koti also giving a really good tip here. Noli Studios is a very good option for students. However, I would not recommend to use Noli Studios for a long period of time. It's a bit of a better option than Airbnb. So basically what they do is that they basically rent out apartments or rooms that are fully equipped with everything. And they're actually decent priced. However, that is not a permanent solution. For example, when you move to Noli Studios, you will actually not be receiving a permanent address, and that's a problem because you need a permanent address in order for you to stay in Finland. So Noli Studios is not a long-term solution here if you want to study in Finland. Anyways, let's get back into the form, and the next question actually comes from Mariana, who comes from Italy, and Mariana is starting school this semester at the University of Jyväskylä, doing her master's in intercultural communication. And the question is, hey Oliver, I just want to ask whether you're familiar with Jyväskylä, the city of Jyväskylä, your thoughts about the city area and the university, and if you have any advice for those that will only be studying there for a limited period of time, but would nonetheless like to make the best of it. I'll be there from August till December, and it's my first time in Finland. Thank you so much for your time. Great question, Mariana. Thank you very much for that. First of all, I don't have actually that much personal experience in Jyväskylä. I do know from friends that it's a very nice city, and the university is also awesome. However, what I would say here to your question about how to get the most out of your studies, it doesn't really matter what university it is in Finland. I would say do not only focus on school, especially if you're an exchange student. Of course, do well and pass your courses, with at least decent grades. However, since you are in Finland only for a limited amount of time, I would really love if you would actually take as much out of the experience as possible. Do note that in Finland we have a very exceptional and a very unique student culture, where there are a lot of student activities, different organizations, clubs, etc. Everything from sports to shooting to riding to chess to games to name whatever that you want to do. Some kind of activities do exist within the student communities. So I would highly recommend that you take as much out of the student experience that you can by being active in the local student community. In addition, I would highly recommend that you and other exchange students travel as much across Finland as possible. Of course, coming from Italy, depending on where you come from, inside of Italy, going to Lapland during winter is a really cool experience. Of course, December is still not midwinter, but you should have plenty of snow in Lapland already then. So I would recommend that you should go to Lapland around maybe Christmas time or just before. Christmas time in Lapland is very expensive, so maybe early December. If you go to Lapland, for example, skiing, you're not going to pay that much for the trip, but it's still going to be beautiful. So that's something that I would highly recommend. So again, kind of summarizing, if you come to Finland as an exchange student, and even if you come here to do a full degree, we are not expecting you to just sit in the library 24/7, but rather we actually want you to experience the local student culture and student experience, which is very unique compared to anything else around the world. So that's definitely something that I would recommend. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I have a couple of videos on my channel talking about student culture and student organizations, and I would also recommend that you start chatting with your personal tutor about this and the best ways to actually take everything out of your student experience. There you go. Then the next question from the Google form, and just mentioning to Al Farsi, Ibrahim, I'm going through the form question by question, so don't worry about it. You might have to wait for a while, but I'm going through the questions one by one in the order that they came. So don't worry, sit tight, and I will get to your question in a while. Let's see. The next question from the forum comes from Agent MF, who comes from Morocco and is still in high school and does not yet know which school in Finland he's interested in, but is still interested in doing a bachelor's in computer sciences. And the question is, can I apply to scholarships before getting my high school diploma? And without extracurricular activities in my application, do I still have a chance of acceptance? So there's a couple of good questions here. So let's actually look at these one by one. So first of all, extracurricular activities in Finland, extracurricular activities actually do not have that much impact into your application when you apply to Finland. In most cases, actually, they are not considered at all. Rather, for example, when you apply for a bachelor's degree, the biggest thing that you need to do well in is your high school diploma, and then, for example, in your SATs. I don't know of any school in Finland that would highly appreciate extracurricular activities. Rather, in Finland, we mostly look at the academic record that you have. So yes, absolutely, without extracurricular activities, you absolutely have a chance to getting admitted. However, you really need to do well in your SATs and your language proficiency tests if you need to do one, or if you need to complete one. And how you can actually find the exact application criteria and requirements is by going to the university websites individually to each university's websites, because the application requirements and application requirements are individual to each university and university program. So for example, if you apply to do a bachelor's in technology and versus a bachelor's in business, the requirements are going to be different. So just take this into account. And then question, can I apply to scholarships before getting my high school diploma? No, you only apply, or in Finland, you apply for scholarships into universities at the same time as you apply for them to the university. Most often you actually use the same application form that you use to apply to university in order to apply to scholarships. So basically what you do is that when you fill out the application form for the university, you have to check a box saying that I want to apply for scholarships as well. There are a couple of exceptions, and I have 2 videos on my channel explaining scholarships in Finland, so please check those out for more details. Then the next question comes from Lone, who comes from Bulgaria, and Lone is still in high school, but is interested in doing a bachelor's degree in design at XAMK University of Applied Sciences, Aalto University, or HAMK University of Applied Sciences. And a couple of questions here. First, how much money does international student need to have in Finland? At minimum, you need to have 560 euros per month for your living costs. So this requirements actually comes from the Finnish Immigration Service. If I just show you really quickly. So when you apply for a residence permit to study in Finland, the Finnish Immigration Service is going to require you to have at least 560 euros at your disposal every month to be able to pay for your accommodation, food, and other needs. So this 560 euros does not cover your tuition fees. So in the case that you have to pay tuition, you have to have this plus the money to pay for your tuition. Please go ahead and check out the website from the Finnish Immigration Service about this for more details, because it's actually not that simple. There's quite a bit more details here that you need to read through. However, the minimum amount of money that you need to have is 560 euros per month on your account, and you actually need to already have that money on your account when you apply for this for the residence permit. So you cannot pay for your living with a part-time job, especially during your first year. So that's actually a rule. Second question, can you recommend any sites for rental apartments or apartments for sale? Again, I would always recommend that you apply for student apartments. In Finland, we have excellent student apartment systems, and there are individual student apartment providers for students in each major university city. And in Helsinki, the biggest one is HOAS, or the Foundation for Student Housing in the Helsinki region. They are, as a disclaimer, they are a channel sponsor. However, they're not sponsoring the stream, but you have to take into account that they are also a non-profit, which is actually being owned. It's actually owned by university students in the Helsinki region. So their whole reason for HOAS being is to provide affordable housing for students in Helsinki. In addition, in Helsinki, there are also multiple other providers, but most of those are specifically to students in certain universities. So for example, if you are a Aalto University student, you can then also apply for the apartments from the AYY, or the Aalto University Student Union. However, if you are not a Aalto student, then you cannot apply for these. However, then if you are a student at the University of Helsinki, then you can apply for apartments from the Student Union for the University of Helsinki, or HYY in short. So there are multiple different student apartment providers depending on the city, and I would always recommend you to apply for student apartments because they are usually so much cheaper than rental apartments from the private market. In fact, if you rent from the private market, you will most likely pay at minimum double the rent that you would pay when if you actually got yourself a student apartment. Great questions. Then the next question from the forum comes from Doho, who comes from Uganda, and Doho is applying to do his master's in livestock management in any university that has a faculty in agriculture. And the question is, what are some of the reasons to study? What are some reasons for the Finnish Immigration Service refusing your study visa for international students? There are very few reasons for cancellation, and actually, let's see. Let's see. There are very limited amount of reasons for your visa being, or visa application being cancelled. Basically here saying you have not been prescribed a prohibition of entry. You're not a danger to public order and security. You're not a danger to public health, and you're not a danger to Finnish international relations. So these are basically the biggest ones for cancellation or not refusing a visa from you. A couple of other, or one other reason for the Finnish Immigration Service to not give you a residence permit is if you do not have enough money on your account or as savings or as loan in order for you to pay your stay for your living in Finland. So if you come to Finland as an international student, you are not allowed to use the social welfare system because that's only for Finnish nationals and permanent residents. So you have to have enough money saved before you apply for a residence permit. If not, your residence permit application will be cancelled. Then a second question: is it possible for doing a master's degree different from your previous degree in Finland? So this is actually a great question, and so basically here Doho is asking, if I have, for example, a bachelor's in mathematics, can I do a master's degree in something else? For example, let's say software development. In theory, yes. However, you have to take into account that in order for you to be being eligible to apply for a master's program, you have to have a previous bachelor's program that makes you eligible specifically for that master's program. This always depends on the master's program that you're applying to. But for example, in your case, you would be looking at applying for a degree in agriculture, specifically in livestock management. So if you have, for example, a bachelor's degree in English literature or mathematics, you will most likely not be able to apply for a master's in agriculture because they are not even close to being the same thing. On the other hand, if you have a bachelor's in computer sciences and then you want to do a master's in economics, that's most likely not going to happen because you need to have a bachelor's degree that is even somehow close to what you would be studying in your master's. The simple reason here is that in a master's degree in Finland, we go really deep into the topic and into the research, and that means that you really need to have a good background in order to study the master's level courses. And if you don't have any background information to that field, then it's most likely not even possible for you to study the master's degree. Let's see. Then before we jump into the next question, let me just grab a really quick drink, and then I will jump into the chat for just a second, looking at some of the messages getting there. So just a moment. All right. All right, so Pink Bunny asking in the chat, I sent you an email. Do you reply to emails? Yes, I do, but extremely slowly. So if you want me to answer your questions, the best ways for me to answer you quickly is YouTube comments. I keep an eye out on YouTube comments every single day, and I try to answer every single person. I'm not capable of doing that to every single person, but I would say that 95% of comments do get replies on the YouTube comment section. However, if you send me an email, I will get back to you maybe at some point. However, you have to take into account that I get a lot of emails every single day, and some emails I'm simply not able to reply to. And for those that I do reply, it can take multiple weeks or even a couple of months for me to get back. So again, if you want to get a response faster, I would highly recommend that you write a comment in one of the YouTube videos. So good question. Thy Glory Ann, welcome to the stream. And Majid Ali, welcome to the stream as well for you. Dai Glory Ann asking, international students cannot avail Kela card during the stay. So yeah, basically talking about here about the social security system or social security net, social safety system. To my understanding, you cannot get a Kela card, which is basically our social security card. Basically, you are not allowed to use social security system, the Finnish social security system, if you are a non-Finnish student. It is for Finnish nationals. It is for those who have a permanent residency because it's paid by taxes. So that's kind of the rules here. We have Muhammad Sabur. Ahmed, what's up? Welcome to the stream as well. Awesome to have you here again. Then we have Al Farsi Ibrahim asking, hey Oliver, I've sent you a question to you via the Google Forms. Can you check them, please? Yep, I will get to your question soon-ish. I will go through them one by one in the order that they came in. Maggie Zhao, welcome as well. Maggie asking, do you know about the vaccination information for international students already in Finland? Is it free? What is the process? I do not. Please refer to the Finnish Institute for Health and Welfare. It's thl.fi is the address. Please refer to them, and on the left side here on the page you can see COVID updates. The Finnish Institute for Health and Welfare is the official government institution taking care of this stuff, and please refer to them with every single COVID question. I will not be answering COVID questions here unless they're my personal experiences, because the situation changes every single day, and I don't want to give you information right now that is going to be old news tomorrow, because people do watch these streams in replay. Then Jet Kotti saying, this has been an issue for a long time now, even before the pandemic, but the government is absolutely trying to resolve this issue by fast-tracking work permits. Yeah, that's absolutely true. Currently, the Finnish Immigration Service is really, really bad with work permits, but they're working on it hard. They have been receiving a lot of negative feedback about this topic. However, you have to take into account that the pandemic has also slowed everything down. So if you're applying for a work permit, it's going to take a while. Then let's see. High Vibe is asking, during spring 2022, will courses be fully done online, or are there going to be offline or face-to-face teaching? So the current situation is that universities in Finland are going to try to have at least some of the courses face-to-face starting this fall. And then, of course, depending on the situation, hopefully they will increase face-to-face education for spring 2022 and forward. However, not all courses will be done offline this fall. However, some will be done. Depending on the situation, and universities will change their systems always based on the current situation. So it's very difficult to say where we are going to be in 2 months. Then let's see, we have Ritesh Jain asking, as a student at Aalto, whenever I suffer from fever, cold or cough, how to approach to a doctor? I'm an international student. So if you are a university student in Finland, doesn't matter where you are actually studying, as long as you are studying a bachelor's or a master's degree, please always contact the FSHS, which is the Finnish Student Health Service, which is the health service for university students in Finland. As a university student in Finland, you're entitled to using their services. However, of course, if you just have a cough and you want to stay in for the day, there is absolutely no reason for you to contact a doctor. In Finland, professors do not need, and they actually do not even want you to have any kind of doctor's notes for being out of class. That's absolutely not necessary. In Finland, we have something called academic freedom. Basically, if you're in, you're in. If you're out, you're out. No one cares what you do as long as you don't come to school sick. However, if you have any problems with your health, or you, for example, want to have your teeth checked out, or you know, whatever, the Finnish Student Health Service is there for you. Please check out their services from their website. It's a really, really cool service, and I highly recommend that you utilize it while staying in Finland. Cool. A couple of people asking me about the vaccinations in the chat. Again, letting everyone know, please refer to the Finnish Institute for Health and Welfare, which is the thl.fi is the website. Please go to their website, and from the left here, check out the latest updates for all information about COVID and the subsequent restrictions. I do not want to give any information about this here live, because anything that I say right now is going to be old news tomorrow, and people come here and watch these streams in replay. So I don't want people to get false information because I said something that was true just now. All right, so the next question from the form, let's jump back into the form, comes from Sunil Kumar, who comes from India. And Sunil is applying to do a master's in data sciences and in any university that has a master's in computer sciences. And the question is, do all non-European unions get scholarships or just a few of them? Yeah, good question. Only a select number of university students in Finland, non-European Union students get scholarships in Finland. There are not enough scholarships for everyone. And the way that this works is that scholarships in Finland are granted by the universities on a competitive basis, basically meaning that only the best applicants get scholarships for their studies. Then the next question from the forum comes from Anna, who comes from Brazil, and Anna is coming to Finland for work, not for school, specifically to work in the healthcare sector. And the question is it too difficult to get into a medical residency program in Finland? Which residencies are most competitive for doctors? Very difficult for me to say, Anna. This is a very specific question. I'm not that well versed in the medical field, especially because the healthcare sector in Finland is extremely heavily regulated. However, if you have a medical license, so if you are a licensed doctor, you should be, in my understanding, to work in Finland. However, you might have to go through some extra education in order for you to come and actually work in the Finnish healthcare sector. However, what kind of residencies are most most competitive? Very hard to say. However, what I can say is that all licensed doctors in Finland have a very, very high salary. And if you have any kind of a specialization, then of course that will be even better for you in terms of your career. However, again, this is extremely difficult for me to say anything more about this. And what I would recommend you to do instead is to refer to the medical union in Finland, the Finnish Medical Association, which is the representative of medical doctors and professionals in the field of medicine in Finland. And please reach out to them. You can find their email and phone number here below at the bottom of the website. Unfortunately, most of their website is still in Finnish because most doctors in Finland speak Finnish. That's a reason. However, please contact them using this email and ask more details from them, because they will be able to give you the correct information. All right, let's see. The next question comes from Emmanuel Cordoba, who comes from Colombia. And Emmanuel is applying to do his master's in finance at the University of Jyväskylä or the University of Helsinki. Right now, I can actually already say that you cannot apply to the University of Helsinki to do a master's in finance, because the University of Helsinki does not have a faculty in business. They do have a separate program in economics, but that's a completely different thing. That's actually under their faculty of social sciences. However, what I would recommend you to do is to consider applying to Aalto University School of Business. Aalto University is my institution. That's where I've gotten my degrees, and it's also the best university in Finland when it comes to business studies. So I would recommend Aalto University absolutely. Then the question is it mandatory to speak Finnish or Swedish to work in the financial services, specifically in fund management? What about in financial technology companies? I'd love to live in Finland, and I have already visited a couple of times, and some of my closest friends live there, but I wonder if I can work in my field there. Obviously not at the beginning. I'm thinking about doing a master's in 2022 or 2023. Great question, Emmanuel. The answer is absolutely no reason for you to learn Finnish or Swedish. Of course, learning Finnish is going to be is going to give you an advantage. However, you're not going to be learning Swedish is not necessarily going to be that useful for you, because even though Swedish is a official language in Finland, you have to take into account that it's still a minority language, and the majority of Finnish people do not actually speak Swedish. So the official working languages in Finland are usually Finnish or English, especially in this field. So yeah, absolutely no reason for you to learn Finnish. It's of course going to help you integrate into the society. However, the financial services, especially fund management, and for example, especially the financial technology sector, most of these companies in this field, especially larger ones, have English as their official working language. So there, hopefully that answered your question. Let's see. All right, the next question from the forum comes from Hima, who comes from Saudi Arabia, but is Afghani by nationality. And Hima is applying to do a master's in something at the University of Helsinki. All right. So the question is, what are the universities that teach international students who are not from EU or EEA countries, so European Union or European Economic Areas, for free? And yes, I want to study my master degree in Finland, not in English, since I'm currently learning Finnish language. How can I find those universities? Hope you can answer my question. Thanks a lot. So every single university in Finland has to teach in Finnish. There you go. Finland, of course, since Finnish is the official language in Finland, universities have to provide education in Finnish. However, what I would recommend you to do is to completely discard this idea, unless you are already very good in Finnish. I would completely stop this idea and rather apply to study in English. The reason being is that I will not go too deep into this, but the application system into Finnish language programs is completely different from the English language programs that international students normally apply to. And to summarize, basically you have to go through, in order to study in Finnish in Finland, you would have to basically speak native level Finnish. That's it. This is because you have to be able to pass and excel at extremely rigorous entrance exams, which are only held in Finnish and Swedish. And you have to take into account that in those exams, you're competing against all the Finnish applicants who study in Finnish. And basically, the intake percentage is usually, depending on the school, around 10%. So that means that 90% of native Finnish-speaking applicants are rejected, which means that you would have to speak almost native level Finnish, and you would need to be able to study for the entrance exams better than the top 10% of all Finnish applicants. So I would not even try this unless you are already very experienced Finnish language in the Finnish language. However, you have to take into account that you have to be basically native level in Finnish. Excellent is not good. Working proficiency is not good. You have to be native level in order to pass these entrance exams. So I will not talk about this more. However, to your question, the direct answer is every single university in Finland teaches in Finnish, because that's how it works in Finland. We have separate programs for Finnish language students, and then separate programs for English programs. There you go. Then the next question from the forum comes from Jai Lord, who comes from Slovakia and is applying to Aalto University to do his bachelor's in computer sciences. And there's a couple of questions here, so let's take these one by one. So imagine you are entering your last class of high school. What would you do step by step if you want to move and study in Finland? I mean, like, first I would apply for apartments in September, then apply for university the same month, send this and that, blah, blah, blah. You can include anything, administrative work, what would you learn, etc. I saw the administrative stuff on Aalto's site, but it seems a bit overwhelming at first to look at, and that doesn't include residencies, living, and other administrative stuff. Thanks a lot. All right, so of course, Jai Lord, this is a very very wide topic, and there's super a lot of steps here. So let me just summarize this really quickly. You are entering your last class of high school. Right now, you need to do really well in your last courses in high school, and if you have any kind of final exams, you need to study for them very hard. Next up, you need to start looking at the different universities that you want to apply to, and the specific requirements that each of those universities and programs have that you want to study in. For example, in your case, you want to do a bachelor's in computer sciences at Aalto University. You need to start looking at the program at Aalto and their specific requirements. Then make yourself a schedule about the different steps for the application. Then after that, start figuring out what kind of entrance exams or language exams or any kind of aptitude exams you have to do, and reserve yourself a time and start studying for those. For example, if you need to do the SATs, which is quite common in Finland, you have to start studying for the SATs hard right now if you want to do well. For example, if you need to do the IELTS or TOEFL language proficiency tests, start studying for those right now as well. Then after you have done that, then you need to start saving money, of course, because you need to have X amount of money on your bank account in order for you to get a residence permit in Finland. Then after that, basically in January, you will the bachelor studies applications will open up. If you're applying for a master's degree, that they open up already in December. For both of those, the application period is going to be around a month. Start filling out the application, make sure that you have all the documents, for example, your high school certificates, everything ready. Submit your application and make sure that you have the SATs and other tests done before the given deadlines. And when you have applied, then you just have to wait until you get the results from the admission. After you have received a positive admission result, then only then will you be able to apply for a student apartment. You cannot apply for a student apartment before you have actually been admitted to study in Finland. Right after that, start working on your residence permit. So the residence permit process is going to take a while, and it includes multiple steps. So you need to start that right after receiving your admission letter. After that, there's only small steps that you need to do. For example, like in saving money, making sure that you have all the paperwork done, and that you are already prepared for the move. And actually, I have multiple videos about this on the channel, so I would recommend that you go and check those out. But this is a kind of a general layout of the order of things that you need to do. So do well in high school, start studying for potential aptitude tests or entrance exams, apply to the school, get admitted, then apply for apartment, apply for residence permit, and then everything else after that. All right, cool. Great question. Then, guys, I will jump into the form in just a moment. So if you want me to answer your question in just a moment, what I would like you to do is to write your question into the chat and write a Q in front of your question so that I know that the question is specifically for me. And while I'm waiting for those questions into the chat, I'm going to respond to one more question from the form. So yeah, again, Q in front of your question and then your question into the chat, and I will pick out maybe 2, 3, 4 questions from the chat, and then I will get back into the form again. While I'm waiting for the questions, the next question from the form comes from Jai Lord, again from Slovakia. And the question is, I know this is probably a bit off topic and a bit stupid, and a bit stupid, but if I got braces, so for teeth, and I moved to Finland with my dentist, to Finland, my new dentist will just continue with the braces as my current dentist would, ? Again, I know this is dumb. I was just thinking about this in the shower. Actually, that's not a stupid question at all, and this actually applies to any kind of health care related stuff. So for example, if you have any kind of psychiatric medications that you're on, if you have dental issues that you need to take care of, or for example, braces, that's not an issue. That's an ongoing process. What you need to do is to again go to the website of the Finnish Student Health Service, FSHS, and they will then be the ones who continue your, for example, your medication, your prescriptions, or for example, your dental work. So for example, FSHS has an excellent dentist. They have excellent dentists, and I would highly recommend that everyone utilizes their dentists and dental services. So for example, if you have braces and they need some work, then you just need to reserve a time at the closest FSHS service point. Do note that from the time you reserve the time, it might take some weeks until you actually are able to get in and see the doctor or the dentist. So just take this into account. So please make sure to reserve all healthcare related times early. All right, let's see if there's any questions in the chat. So we have a question. Let's see. Prabesh asking how to start a business as a student. This is actually a very good question, and it's a very complicated question, so I cannot really go too deep into this. However, if you want to start a business in Finland, it doesn't matter whether whether or not you're a student. What you need to do is to register a company into the trade registry, which is PRH in Finnish, in short. Go to so basically just Google PRH, which is the abbreviation of the trade registry, start a business, and then from here, trade register. And then from here, you can actually see all the information that you need. In addition, if and when you have any issues with, or you have any questions about starting a business, please contact PRH or the Finnish Trade Registry or the Finnish Patent and Registration Office for help. They have very good customer service and they will help you out with the different steps. This does involve quite a bit of paperwork, or at least some paperwork in the beginning. I would also recommend that you also hire an accountant right already at the beginning of your business, because the accounting rules and, for example, tax rules in Finland are going to be different compared to the ones in your own home country, and you really want to get those done correctly right from the beginning. So just Google accounting companies, Helsinki or something like this. You will be able to find a bunch of different accountants that can help you with your finances when you actually start a business. Do take into account that if you do a business, or if you work as a freelancer, if you do if you get any kind of an income from any kind of work, be it on doing freelance work on Fiverr, if you get money from YouTube, if you get, for example, free products from a company as a social media influencer, anything like this, everything is taxable income in Finland. So please take that into account. You need to disclose those in your taxes if you get income like that in Finland. So just take that into account. So yeah, Prabesh, really good question. Hopefully that gets you started at least. Again, I can't go through the entire process because it's quite, it involves a lot of detail, and we would spend 5 hours just talking about this here. So I hope that gets you started at least. Then, we have a question: how much tax do international students pay from their part-time work income? So that's actually a very good question, and what I would recommend you to do here is I would go to Google and Google Vero, VERO, which is tax in Finnish. Vero is also the short name for the tax administration in Finland, and Vero plus tax calculator. So the Finnish tax administrator has a very good tax percentage calculator that you can use in order to assess the approximate taxes that you have to pay from your income. So in Finland, you have to take into account that we have a progressive taxation system, meaning that the more money you make, the more taxes you have to pay. In addition to taxes, there are also other things that you need to pay. For example, social insurance benefits, you have to pay your pension benefits, you have to pay unemployment benefits, etc. So all of this has to be taken into account when you count your taxes, or when you count your gross salary and your net salary. So basically the salary that your employer tells you that they will pay you, and then the amount of money that you actually receive on your account every single month. Also, do take into account that if you work for someone, if you work as an employee to a company in Finland, the taxes from your income and all the pension payments and unemployment benefits, they will be automatically paid from your salary by your employer every single month. So you don't have to submit your pension money basically to the tax administration. That is done automatically by your employer. So take that into account. Again, however, the thing here is that since we have a progressive tax system where the more money you make, the more taxes you pay, you have to always make an estimate of your taxes based on the income that you assess that you will be getting. So there are no fixed tax brackets that we would have. So this is why, for example, if you do 2,500 euros per month, your tax is going to be different compared to if you, for example, make 3,000 euros per month. So use the tax percentage calculator. Again, how you can find this, go to Google Vero or VERO tax calculator, and you should see this link with www.vero.fi. This is the correct link for you to use. Great question. Then let's take one more question from the chat, and then let's jump back into the form. Then we have a question, actually an interesting question from Abdel Rahman Mohammed, who asks, what is the highest in-demand job in Finland for foreigners to work at? So it's very difficult to say this because there are various statistics about this. However, I would not... I've mentioned this multiple times in my streams before. I would not choose your field based on what is in high demand, because that is the worst strategy the worst way for you to choose your field. Instead, I would simply choose your field based on your interest, because when you're interested in something, you are more inclined to study very hard. And then when you're inclined to study very hard, you are more inclined to become very, very good at what you do. And if you're very, very good at what you do, it doesn't matter how in demand those jobs are, because then you will most likely still get a very good paying job. However, if you just go for a field or for a job that is in high demand, it is likely that you're not really that interested, which means that you're not that motivated to study, which means that you're not going to learn that much, which means that you're getting low grades, which means that people don't want to hire you, which means that it's going to be rough. So choose your field based on your interest, not based on the demand of jobs. Having said this, the healthcare sector always has a high demand for example, nurses, doctors, yes, of course, but again, you cannot study in English to become a doctor in Finland, so that's kind of discounted. However, nurses, extremely high in demand. Early childhood education, so for example, teachers in daycare, very in high demand. Do note that you need to have a bachelor's degree in early childhood education in order to work in childcare. Then, for example, in computer sciences, everything in computer sciences is very high in demand. Engineering, basic engineering jobs, very high in demand, like mechanical engineering, automation engineering, robotics. All of this is very high in demand. Basically everything that makes us better suited to serve our robot overlords in the future. Hail Skynet, if you know what I mean. So basically anything that has anything to do with software engineering, robotics, super high in demand. So absolutely cool. Also, you have to take into account that also having a business degree, especially a master's in business, doesn't matter if you major in finance, economics, marketing, management, doesn't matter. There are always a lot of jobs in those fields. So, just take that into account. Awesome. Let's see the next question from the form, and I will get back to the questions in the chat in a moment, but let's jump back into the form. Because I always prioritize those questions. The next one comes from Bosco from India, and Bosco is applying to do his master's in business administration. Great choice at either the Aalto University or the KAMK University of Applied Sciences. And the question is, what are the prospects of gaining professional experience after the completion of your all right, let's try this again. What are the prospects of gaining professional experience specifically foreign experience after doing your degree? And is it possible to find a part-time job at the present COVID situation, considering that the COVID situation has affected many businesses? So first of all, the current situation in Finland is much better than it was previously. So for example, in terms of COVID, it doesn't really affect job hunters or job seeking anymore. The job situation in Finland is actually really good. So there's a lot of jobs available. Again, disclaimer, of course, it depends on the field, and also doesn't matter how many jobs there are, whether or not you're able to pitch yourself to a company or sell yourself to a company is basically the only question here. So whether or not you have enough experience and expertise, and whether you are able to pitch yourself to a company for them to hire you, that's the big question here. So COVID doesn't really impact job seeking right now, so that's there. Then of course, after you have graduated, absolutely you can gain foreign job experience. Simply just apply for jobs abroad from outside of Finland. But of course, if you want to gather work experience in Finland, that's of course what I would prefer, because I want you guys to stay in Finland. That's because that's the reason I'm running this channel. All right, the next question from the forum comes from Basil Iqbal, who comes from India. And Basil is coming to Finland for work, not for school. And the question is, how high are the chances for me to get a job in Finland in IT and tech, in the technology fields? I don't know. It depends on your experience, your expertise, and your ability to pitch yourself to Finnish companies. It's 50-50. You either get a job or you don't get a job. It's impossible for me to say. This is such a wide open question that it's impossible for me to give an answer here. So for example, it depends on software development, IT and tech is super wide. So are you an engineer? Are you working in mechanical engineering? If not, are you working in automation? Are you a computer scientist? If you're a computer scientist, what do you do within computer sciences? Do you do web design, or are you working in machine learning or automation? All depends so much on what you do, what is your experience, what is your educational background, and are you able to find relevant companies in Finland, and actually are you able to pitch yourself to those companies? So I would say that it's impossible to answer this question. It's way too open for me to give a proper contextualized answer. I'm very sorry about that. I'm gonna need more water. Damn. All right, then the next question from the forum. And by the way, guys, before I jump into the next question, just letting everyone know, if you're getting value out of the stream, I would highly appreciate if you could gently tap the like button under the video. That tells the YouTube algorithm gods that you're actually getting some value out of this stream, and that will help them push this stream to other viewers as well. So thank you very much if you could just gently tap the like button without breaking it completely. Highly appreciate it. Anyway, the next question comes from Suresh Mathan, who comes from New Delhi, India. And Suresh is coming to Finland for work, not for school, specifically looking for jobs in the mechanical field or mechanical engineering field. And Suresh is saying, hey, Oliver, how are you? Thank you very much. I'm doing very well. Hopefully you're doing good as well. As you suggest, I tried to connect to Pointer Potential, which is a HR company specifically specializing in international talent. But until now, I haven't received any kind of a response from them. Hence, I submitted my CV on their website for jobs. I also tried to connect to D&D Services, which is a recruitment consultancy in Espoo. And I want to know that can you suggest me any other employment agencies or employers to whom I can connect for mechanical jobs in Finland? Again, thanks for your hard work. So again, this is Suresh, this is a very difficult question for me to answer, because I would need to know a bit more details about your background. So mechanical jobs, that doesn't really tell me that much. So is it mechanical engineering? And yes, if it is, do you do actual application or applied mechanical engineering, or do you actually do design? So basically back-end or front-end work. and what kind of jobs you're actually looking for. So junior designer, senior designer, mechanical engineer, you know, all of this kind of stuff. Having said this, there are a couple of recruitment companies that I would recommend you to check out. I cannot guarantee that these guys have any kind of jobs for you, especially now that since everyone, please consider that July is the biggest holiday month in Finland. Nothing happens in July, basically. Everyone is on holiday right now until the end of the month. So in Finland, if you apply for jobs in July, it's the worst time of the year to apply or contact anyone in Finland. So just take that into account. Having said this, the following recruitment companies specialize in university-educated talent, meaning that these guys might have also some technology-based jobs that you might be able to apply for. First one is A-Talent, which is actually my previous employer. So that's atalent.fi, and you go to For Talents and see open jobs or positions, and from here you can then see the different open jobs that they have. For example, mechanical designer. Hey, they have a mechanical designer, full-time, fixed term. Let's see. Fluency in English. Finnish is considered an asset, so it's actually not even required. So that's really cool. So maybe you could actually check this out. So go to atalent.fi, and then from the top right corner here, change the language to English. And then for talents, see open position. And then from here, you can then filter out different locations, contract types, positions, etc. And for example, here, mechanical designer, check that out. And then for everyone also, if you want to at any point apply for jobs in Finland, specifically for jobs in your own field, I recommend that you subscribe to the job alerts by A-Talent. So basically just subscribe to job alerts. Oops, let's see. And from here, you can actually choose your field, your preferred language, contract type, seniority levels, and then you will actually get informed via email whenever there are suitable job openings in your field. So just, you know, that's a great source for everyone to use. The next company that I would recommend is Academic Work. Unfortunately, most of their website is still in Finnish. However, if you go to academicwork.fi, go all the way to the bottom, and then from here, choose in English, and you can actually see the different jobs that they have in English. So from here, where can you find our available jobs? Jobs in English, click that. And from here, you can then see the different jobs that are specifically in English via Academic Work. Academic Work is basically a direct competitor to A-Talent, and it's a very good recruitment company in Finland. In addition, there are other companies as well where you could try to find some jobs. For example, Duunitori is the biggest job platform in Finland. However, the problem again here is that the website is mostly in Finnish. Again, if you go all the way down and then you come here, jobs, excuse me, jobs in English, click that. And from here, you can again see jobs that are do not require any Finnish. Again, problem here is that some of these do require you to actually speak Finnish. However, for some weird reason, the companies have the title in English and the application itself in English. However, when you go all the way down, you can then see, let's see. Yeah, here, requirements, excellent English and Finnish skills verbally and in writing, which is completely insane. I don't understand why they have the job ad itself in English if they require Finnish. However, this is one way for you to find jobs. So again, go to Duunitori, duunitori.fi. So that's DUUNITRO.fi. So, excuse me, oops. So here, then all the way down here, jobs in English. And then from here, you can find then jobs that some of them are only in English. Some of them do require Finnish. So A-Talent, Academic Work, and then Duunitori are great companies for you to check jobs from. Awesome. Then the next question from the forum comes from Jisoo, who comes from Korea. And Jisoo is still in high school, but is interested in doing a bachelor's in design at Aalto University. And Her question is, in the past, due to my dad's work, I have lived in Finland for 3 years. Would this reduce my time required for gaining a citizenship? Great question. Unfortunately, I don't know the answer to this question. I'm very sorry. This is the citizenship question is something that I haven't looked into that much because it's actually pretty complicated, and the way that the years required for citizenship are calculated is actually not that clear. It's not that well explained on the website of the Finnish immigration service. So unfortunately, I cannot answer this question live. I'm very sorry about that. Anyway, the next question comes from Majid Ali, who comes from Pakistan. And Majid Ali is applying to do a master's in water technology. Nice. At the Lappeenranta University of Technology. And the question is scholarship options at Lappeenranta University and part-time job opportunities. First, part-time job opportunities, especially in your field, I have no idea. It's a very niche field, very small field. So I have no idea whether or not there are any kind of part-time job opportunities at the city of Lappeenranta in this field. However, scholarship options, please go to the University of Lappeenranta's website. They will have their scholarship page where they explain everything that you need. Actually, never mind. I will just show you. Whoops, that's weird. My computer is lagging quite heavily. Just a moment. Guys, by the way, let me know in the chat if you're experiencing any problems with the stream. For some reason, it seems that my computer is slowing down quite heavily. So I will just try to close some windows to make it perform a bit better. If you can just hold on a moment. Let's see. Let's see, just a moment. Sorry about this, guys. Let's try this one more time. All right, let's hope that that helps. So, anyways, the question was about scholarship options. So let's see, Lappeenranta. So just simply Google Lappeenranta University of Technology and then and scholarships, and just here tuition fees and scholarships. This is the correct page, and then from here go and check out the scholarship from here. Here you can find all the necessary information about the scholarships for the Lappeenranta University of Technology. Again, every single university has their own scholarship program in Finland, so you have to always check out the information from the university websites. The amount of how large the scholarships are, what kind of scholarships are available, when and how you apply for them. All of this information is dependent on the university as well as the program that you're applying to. So again, go to the university website to check out the specific information for your specific university. Let's see. All right, so actually Onurkan is saying that the stream sounds perfectly fine, but the FPS feels like low 30s or 20s. Even the Finnish computers are not used to this horrible heat, LOL. Yeah, I actually think that might have something to do with this, that the computer is running really, really warm. But hopefully that helped. I closed a lot of Chrome windows. I had like 100 Google Chrome windows open at the same time. For some reason, Google Chrome is very, very taxing to the computer's memory. So hopefully that helped a bit with the FPS. Anyways, the next question from the forum comes from Kira, who comes from India. And Kira is applying to do her bachelor's in BBA or International Business. at the Arkady University of Applied Sciences. Celebrity Spotlight, I cannot whistle, so I can't whistle a song. This is a skill that I've never learned properly, so unfortunately, no. Sorry about that. And anyway, the question is Arkady University of Applied Sciences a good university? And what are other options or other good universities of applied sciences near the capital city? I'm a vegan, so I thought Helsinki or near capital city would be better. Also because of HOAS, as a couple of friends and I are planning to apply together. Yeah, so Arkady University of Applied Sciences is a great school. Also, you should also consider applying to Metropolia University of Applied Sciences, as well as I think those are actually the two ones that I would recommend, specifically if you want to do a bachelor's in business at a University of Applied Sciences. Of course, if you want to do a business degree at a university, so basically do a bachelor's and a master's, then I would recommend you to apply to universities, not universities of applied sciences. So again, if you are new to this and don't understand what the difference is, basically universities of applied sciences are universities are basically research institutions, and they teach bachelor's as well as master's degrees, and they base their education on academic research and theoretical work, and their education is also more theoretical. However, university graduates have normally better career prospects than those who graduate from universities of applied sciences. Then universities of applied sciences they're basically polytechnical schools, so they're more hands-on than universities. And most people, when they apply to universities of applied sciences, they only do a bachelor's degree. Some universities of applied sciences also offer master's degrees, but that's more rare. So usually when people want to do a master's, they usually apply to universities. Adija, what's up? Welcome to the stream, my man. Scarlett, welcome to the stream. Welcome to the inferno that is Helsinki right now. I am sweating like crazy. I've almost drank a liter of water already just within 1 hour. It's almost 30 degrees outside and it's over 30 degrees inside. So I'm sweating like crazy. It's like I've just gone swimming. So I do apologize for glistening like a Christmas tree. Jet Koti, by the way, saying to the discussion, Laurea University of Applied Science is also in the capital region. Very good point. Also a very reputable school. Highly, highly recommended. Thanks for that as always. Actually, you know what? Jet Koti, by the way, if just as a thing, you have been giving us so much value in the stream, not just being being a member, but giving so many really, really good advice to people. Just let me know in the chat. Would you actually want to become a moderator into these live streams? That would actually help me a lot, because you have so much information, valid information that you can share to other people, and I'm sure that would be really, really cool. Then the next question from the forum, and by the way, guys, so if you want to ask questions in the chat, now would be the time again. So I will answer 1 or 2 questions from the forum, and then I will jump back into the chat. And if you want to write your question in the chat, remember to write a Q in front of your question so that I know that the question is for me specifically. And so I will answer a couple of questions from the forum, then I will jump into the chat, answer maybe a couple of 2-3 questions there, and then jump back into the forum. Awesome. You would love that. Cool. Let's make you a moderator right away. There you go. Awesome. That's really cool. Then let's see. The next question from the forum comes from Abdel Rahman Mohammed, who comes from the UAE and is coming to Finland for work, not for school, specifically in the field of data sciences, which is awesome. And the question is, what's the most in-demand jobs in Finland for foreigners? So I actually covered this already. So if you want to hear my answer to this question, go back maybe 20 minutes or so, and I answered that question in a bit more detail. Anyway, the next question comes from Kurdician, who comes from Indonesia. And I'm sorry, by the way, if I butcher your name. Kurdician is how I think that's pronounced. If not, let me know in the chat. Anyway, Kurdician is from Indonesia, starting school this semester at the University of Helsinki. doing his master's in atmospheric sciences. Interesting, super interesting. I have no idea what that means. Maybe about wind and stuff. I'm just a stupid business graduate. I don't understand this kind of stuff. Sounds super interesting. Anyway, the question is, hi, what's up? I was wondering, should I bring winter clothes from my home country, or is it recommended to buy them once I get to Finland? And does Finland has rice cookers? Great questions. First of all, rice cookers, yes, we do have those in Finland. However, they are not that commonly used, so you would have to go into a more specialized store to actually get them. There are a couple of them in, for example, Helsinki, a very big department store, for example, that has everything. It's like it's basically like the Harrods in the London, but for us in Helsinki. So they have absolutely everything that you will ever want. However, so of course you can get a rice cooker in Finland, but you might have to look for it for a while. So unless it costs you a lot of money to bring in your own rice cooker to Finland, I'm meaning freight cost, so your baggage, I would actually consider bringing your own rice cooker, because I'm sure that you guys have better ones in Indonesia. So and you're used to using it, so that's something that I would recommend you to do. Then to your first question about winter clothes. Since you most likely are coming to Finland in the autumn semester, meaning August and September, I don't think that you have to bring winter clothes to Finland when you actually move here, because the winter especially in south of Finland, starts only after October. If you're higher up north, for example in Oulu, the winter does begin around October-ish. So you don't have as much time to buy winter clothes as you would have in Helsinki. Also, I don't know how much winter clothes and how good winter clothes you guys have in Indonesia, but I would recommend, of course, that you should buy everything here locally, because we have very, very good products, high quality products here that are specifically designed for our seasons. However, if you do happen to have winter clothes already in your home country, of course, bring them in again if it's not too expensive to bring a lot of very heavy clothing into Finland when you fly here. So I would say that. Cool, very good questions, very interesting questions. Then let's see, are there any questions in the chat? Let's see. There's actually not that many questions here in the forum. So guys, if you have any questions that you would like me to answer right now, you can actually write them into the chat, but include a Q in front of the question so that I know that the question is specifically for me. So there are 2 questions here, but they're very difficult to answer. First one comes from Rohan Sharma. Is studying easy or hard? Depends on you, whether or not you're a really good student or not. So impossible to say. Plus, you can always work hard, or you can always work less. So it always depends on your personal background and your affinity to be a good student. So it's very, very difficult to say. Then we have a question from Jose Torres, who asks, where can I study Finnish or get books for free? Really good question. Actually, let me just show you really quickly. So Jose, if you actually go to my YouTube channel, I actually have multiple videos, or sorry, I have one video about this topic already on my channel that I would recommend you to check out. Again, for some reason, my computer is super slow today. I don't understand what's going on. So if I just showed you here, so if you go to my channel and just search using the search tool here, Finnish, you will find this video here. Best free online tools to learn Finnish before moving to Finland. I would recommend that you check that out. There's a couple of, for example, free courses, free resources for you to use to learn Finnish, especially if you're a beginner. And I would recommend to start with those and then buy Finnish language books once you have actually arrived into Finland, because they're much cheaper, of course, here without shipping them to you internationally. So I would start with those. And then, of course, if you want to learn more Finnish and learn Finnish using books, of course, Amazon is always good for that. Awesome. Then actually Jet Koti again has a very good point. You can also start by watching learnfinishpod101.com on YouTube. That's actually a very good point. They actually have a very good YouTube channel. Crap, I'm sweating. Whew, it's warm. It's hot. Just absolutely unbearable. Yeah, very good point. LearnFinishPod101.com has a very good YouTube channel about learning Finnish, so it's highly recommended. Anyway, the next question actually comes from the forum, and it comes from Al Farsi, who comes from Saudi Arabia. And Al Farsi is applying to do his master's in Aalto University, doing a degree in computer sciences. Awesome. And there's a couple of questions here saying good afternoon, good evening to you as well. How are you? I'm actually doing quite well. Thank you very much. You know, I'm doing well, but it's just way too warm here right now. This is something that I'm going to be complaining about quite a lot. I hope you're having a great time in Finland. I found your great channel about studying in Finland and how can people actually apply to study in Finland. Very cool to hear that you're actually getting some value out of the videos and the channel. By the way, if you are getting value out of the stream and out of the channel, I would highly appreciate if you guys could gently tap and destroy the like button by getting us up over 50 likes before the end of the stream. Highly appreciated. So I have a few questions about studying in Finland as an international student who is not from the European Union or European Economic Area. Question number one. How can I apply or find Finnish universities that teach international students in Finnish if they take the degrees in Finnish language? I mean, not paying the tuition. So I actually answered this question already. I would not even think about this because you have to basically be a native level Finnish speaker in order for you to be able to study in Finnish. For the reasons that the application system for Finnish language studies is completely different from the international application, and it basically requires you to speak native level Finnish in order for you to even be eligible. So that's why I would not recommend even considering applying to Finnish language programs. However, to your question again, every single university in Finland has Finnish language education because that's basically in the law, because they have to provide Finnish nationals education also in Finnish. Second question, when will be the general period of time that all universities open their doors for students to apply for? So this depends on whether you apply to a English language program, a Finnish language program, or a bachelor's or master's degree. So again, for Finnish language programs, that's a completely whole different topic. I will not go into it because I would not recommend anyone to apply to Finnish language programs unless you are native Finnish speaker. However, if and when you apply to English language programs, there are basically 2 times per year that the applications are open. Starting in December, so between December and January, we have the application period for master's programs. And then for bachelor's programs, that's basically during January or January, February, early January, early February. So yeah, basically to summarize, if you're applying for a master's, the application period opens in December. If you are applying for a bachelor's, the application period usually starts in January. Then question number 3, when applying for a master's degree, I'm required to upload an attachment that is at minimum 2 years of, I'm required to upload an attachment that shows that I have at least 2 years of work experience. Is there any ways to make that form by myself and take my company confirmation, or do I have to follow a specific information to make the certificate? So this, I think that I know what you're talking about. And the issue here is that this again is about the Finnish language programs that I would not recommend you to apply for. However, even though if I'm correct, I actually do not know the answer to your question because I'm not sure who has to make the certificate for your work experience in this case. So unfortunately, I don't have an answer to this specific question. Cool. Anil Kumar asking in the chat, which university is the best in math in Finland? The University of Helsinki, hands-on. That's very simple. So University of Helsinki, mathematics. Google that. Then the next question from the forum comes from Simon from Ireland. Welcome, Simon from Ireland. Welcome. Awesome to have people from all around the world. I would love to visit Ireland at some point. So if you want to give me any tips on what kind of places to visit in Ireland, what to do there when visiting, let me know in the chat. Anyway, Simon is starting school this semester at the Lappeenranta Technical University, doing his master's in environmental engineering. Super interesting. And the question is, are students from the EU entitled to Kela study grants, or is it just for Finnish nationals? Great question. As a general rule of thumb, the Kela social security grants are only for Finnish nationals. So what Simon is talking about here is that in Finland we have both government guaranteed study loans as well as, or university loans, student loans. Student loans, and then we have also, what is this? Something on my cheek. There we go. Then also we have we have study grants provided by the government and by the social security system. Those are in general only for Finnish nationals. There are very, very few exceptions to this rule. And if you are coming to Finland as an international student, as a general rule, you're not entitled to any kind of social or study grants or loans from Finland. But great question, Simon. I know that the information provided on their website is very vague and very confusing, so that's a great question. All right, then the next question from the forum comes from Joshua Odefot, who comes from Nigeria. Cool, interesting. And Joshua is still in high school, but interested in doing a degree in media studies. Nice. All right. And the question is, do you have any universities in Helsinki or Tampere where I could learn movie production or any media schools at the university level? Yes. Joshua, this is a very good question. And of course, this is a very specific field. So I'm not 100% sure whether I'm completely correct. But at least Aalto University does have Aalto University School of Arts and Design does have let's see, just a moment. If you could, Jetkoti, help me just a bit with the chat for a moment. There is some kind of all right, that's awesome. So apparently there is some kind of a spam bot being used in the chat. So just a moment, I'm trying to just ban the bot. Jeez. Just a moment. Just a moment, guys. This is very nice. Very nice. All right, just a moment. That's just brilliant. Someone spending their time doing bot attacks on live streams. That's just awesome. So sorry about this, guys. I need to do some spam work here. So just a moment. Just a second. I will try to do something for this. Awesome. That's just brilliant. Yeah, so everyone, if you guys can actually report all the spam, that would help a lot. I can't keep up, so this is basically a spam bot attacking the stream, which is awesome. Someone spending their precious time trolling and spamming other people's comments and streams, so that's really cool. So screw them. So let's just make sure that these guys are removed from the channel. So by the way, guys, this has never happened before, so I have no idea what's happening here. So just bear with me a moment. I'll try to. Jetkoti, of course, I'm sure that you're helping me here. So all right, so Brooke saying that it was actually not a spam bot. It was a live streamer saying to, let's see. All right, so that's cool. That's really cool. All right, sorry guys. This is gonna take a while. All right, so someone is saying that Brooke is saying that it wasn't a spam bot, but it was a live stream saying that they should basically flood the channel. So let's see, who was it that actually flooded the live stream? So if you happen to know who it was actually who told you guys to everyone to raid the channel, just let me know and I'll maybe have a chat with them a bit later. Anyways, let's continue the stream. Screw everyone. That's really awesome of everyone to come and spam the channel. So you know, people have way too much free time. So let's put that to the side and just continue with the stream. So anyway, the next question comes from Joshua. I'm sorry, actually we got that already. So the next question comes from Joseph from Indonesia, and the question. All right, so it was Yusu. All right, cool. Don't really care. Don't really care who Yusu is. I have never heard of him before. I don't really care. If he's sending his followers to spam other people's channels, you know, that's his prerogative. But I would not be spending my time that way. So that's cool. Anyway, so yeah. So the next question was coming from Joseph, who comes from Indonesia, and is coming to study. Starting school this semester at Aalto University, doing his master's in electronic engineering. And the question is, my country is a high-risk country. I already have a residence permit, and I looked up thl.fi, so the Finnish Institute for Welfare and Health and Welfare, that I can be exempt from having to take a COVID-19 test since I have been vaccinated and have an official COVID-19 certificate from the Indonesian government. I found no information regarding quarantine on THL. Would I be exempt from quarantine as well? Again, please go and check THL. Another resource for you to check out is Jesus. Sorry, my computer is lagging quite heavily. So the other institution that I would recommend you to refer to in this case is also the Finnish border guard. So that would be Raja, or raja.fi, and they will have answers to your questions, most likely about border traffic during pandemic, and most likely about some kind of quarantine information. Again, please refer to THL and the border guard and follow them before you actually come to Finland, so to make sure that you actually have the timely information about the topic, so that you can actually follow the guidelines set by those institutions at that very time. Let's see. Let's see in the chat. There's something else. Let's see. So Scarlett kind of saying, hey, he said you were spammed by Yusu, no one wants to follow a damn child. Well, yeah, I don't want to take, comment on that, but anyway, that's over, so that's fine. The next question from the forum. So at this point, hey, what's up, Alexi fan? Welcome to the stream. Awesome to have you here. So at this point, guys, if you want me to answer your questions, please post your question into the forum. I will focus for a while on the questions in the forum, and then I will jump back into the chat for a while in just a moment, but just letting everyone know. So the next question comes from Peter, who comes from Peru, and Peter is still in high school, but is interested in doing a bachelor's in engineering at Aalto University. And the question is, I don't know if you can answer my question. In my country, we finished high school when we were 16 years old. Then we applied for university for 5 years, and we just applied for a master's degree. By studying 2 years at a university in my country, basically simulating high school, can I apply for a bachelor's program in Finland? So basically, that's actually a very good question, Peter, and this actually applies to anyone who wants to apply to study in Finland. So in order to apply to study at a university in Finland, or University of Applied Sciences, so meaning bachelor's or master's level, one of the basic eligibility criteria is that you have to have a prior degree in your home country that would make you eligible to apply for a university or a bachelor's or master's degree in your home country as well. Of course, since the education systems in each country is very, very different from each other, so basically that means that you would need to what am I saying here? It means that you basically have to simply have a degree in your home country that would make you eligible to apply to study in Finland on the same level. So that's basically the eligibility criteria here. So basically, if you already graduated from high school earlier, you should still be eligible to apply to bachelor's studies in Finland, as long as the high school degree is, comparable to something that you would do in Finland. So I know that this didn't give you a concrete answer, but I hope that this gives you enough context for you to know whether or not you're eligible to apply. Of course, in this case, you could also contact Aalto University, specifically their admission services at using the following email address: admissions, so that's plural, admissions@aalto.fi. That's their admissions email. Send them an email about your high school degree and whether or not that makes you eligible to apply, and hopefully they will be able to respond to you in more specific terms. Then actually super quickly, Jose Torres asking in the chat, one more question: where can I see how to get a bachelor's degree scholarship for engineering at Aalto University or Helsinki University? Jose, one more thing, the University of Helsinki does not have a faculty in engineering, so you cannot apply for a bachelor's in engineering at the University of Helsinki. So in that case, you should choose Aalto University specifically. So for Aalto University scholarships, please go and Google. This is super simple here. Just Google Aalto University scholarships and scholarships and tuition fees here, the first link. And then come here. you can actually see all the information here that you need for all the university scholarships. And these, do note that these apply to both bachelor's as well as master's degrees. The same information is applied to both. So always just Google the name of the school and scholarship. For example, if you were to look for scholarships from the University of Helsinki, just Google University of Helsinki scholarships. You see that you can see that I'm Googling this all the time for my own research. So anyway, first link, and then from here you can then check out categories of different grants, and then you can see all the information that you need right here, who are eligible for scholarships, application, etc., etc., etc. So always Google the school plus the scholarship. Awesome. Anyway, the next question from the forum comes from Timothy from Nigeria, and Timothy is applying to the University of Eastern Finland or Tampere University to do a master's in public health, which is awesome. And the question is, can one get a student apartment for him and his fiancée, basically student housing for two people? Great question, and the answer to this question is that it depends on the student housing provider. So basically, for example, HOAS, which functions in the Helsinki capital region, or in the capital region, they have what they call family apartments, which are for multiple people. For example, I am living in a family, quote-unquote, family apartment with my girlfriend, and both of us are students. However, with HOAS, you need to have at least one of the tenants to be a full-time student for you to live there as a family. However, whether or not there are similar apartments available at the in Joensuu, Kuopio, or any of the other campuses for the University of Eastern Finland, or in the city of Tampere, you have to Google basically Tampere student apartments, and then go from there. You can find the information pretty easily and pretty quickly. Great question, though. Then the next question from the forum comes from Suresh Mathan, who comes from India, is coming to Finland for work, not for school. And the question is, if I got employed in Finland, what will be the Finnish learning process and charges? So for Finnish language. Interesting question. I have no idea. So first of all, you don't have to learn Finnish unless you want to. However, if you want to, there are multiple different sources and resources that you can use. For example, some cities have very affordable Finnish language courses. Some are even free. But of course, there are a lot of online resources as well that, for example, Jet Koti mentioned in the stream, in the chat previously. So it's very difficult to say what is the process and charge for learning Finnish. Depends on what kind of resources you want to use. Then the next question comes from Onur from Turkey. Onur is still in high school, but is interested in doing a bachelor's in engineering or economics. And there's a rather long question here, so just bear with me. I'm going to apply to the top 500 universities in Finland this winter. I do not have any strong preferences over any of the universities. However, I noticed that the LUT University application starts at December, and they say they will send the applicants the responses within a month, and I have to accept it within 14 days. Normally, I would just apply later so that I can get every result at closer times. However, it states on their website that applications will be closed once places fill up. My concern here is that places will fill up or few slots will remain, and it will be harder for me to get in. My question is that, do you have any knowledge on LUT and whether it's a good school? Do people find jobs easily after graduation? And currently I'm thinking about electrical or mechanical engineering. I failed to find any information on what percentage of the graduates manage to find jobs. I'm not asking you statistics, just what you've heard of. Great question. So first of all, of course, if you get a master's degree in mechanical or electrical engineering, your career prospects will be very good. Again, as you mentioned, I don't have any statistics, but I would say that the clear majority of graduates will find jobs very quickly after graduation, specifically in these fields, because engineering jobs are very in high demand in Finland. And actually, a lot of people find jobs already before they graduate, and then they continue full-time after graduation. So I would say that if you study at LUT, you will have very good career prospects. However, the case here, or the way that they select the students that you've described here, sounds to me a bit interesting, a bit odd, or it's a bit difficult from the ways that the other universities do it. So basically, what I think that they're doing here is that they're they're shortening the process, application process, while other universities have a much longer process, and then with the incentive of, if we do the process faster, more really good students are applying to our school. However, the problem is that other universities, for example, Aalto University, which again is my institution, and which is also the best university in the field of technology in Finland, they have a bit longer application process. However, I would highly recommend Aalto University for you, because I know from personal experience that engineers graduated from Aalto are not only extremely talented, but they also have very high employment numbers. And I'm actually currently working in a startup where we have a mechanical engineer who graduated from Aalto, and he's absolutely brilliant. And he's actually an international student, so he's originally from Mexico. And what he's told me, Aalto is a very good school when it comes to engineering. So yeah, if you graduate from LUT, you will definitely have good career prospects. However, I would still apply to other universities as well, and do take into account that there are quote unquote better universities on paper, at least in Finland, than LUT. Namely, for example, Aalto University, which is clearly the best university in technology in Finland. Cool. All right, trying not to pass out from all the sweating. Anyways, oh jeez. Oh, juice. Juice, cheese, oh cheese. Juice, I'm drinking juice. I'm already hallucinating. So the next question comes from Jess Fishburne. Welcome, Jess, to the stream. Hopefully you're still live. If you are, Jess, let me know in the chat. It would be awesome to hear whether you're still following the stream live. Anyway, Jess is from the UK and starting school this semester at LUT University, which is awesome. And Jess is specifically doing a PhD in business, which is very cool, very nice. And the question is, do PhD candidates or students pay tax if they are also earning income? Yes, yes they do. If you have any kind of income from Finland while you're doing your studies, whether or not you're on bachelor's, master's, or PhD level, you will have to pay taxes into Finland from that income. However, Jess, in your case, don't worry, there's not going to be any kind of double taxation. I've actually had to look into this because one of our shareholders in our startup is actually from the UK, and I actually had to call the Her Majesty's what was it, Revenue Service? No, Her Majesty's Tax Service? No. Revenue Service? I don't remember. The local tax administration at the UK, and I also called the local tax administrator in Finland, and my understanding is that that Finland and the UK, we have a tax agreement basically, where there's no double taxation happening. So if you earn money in Finland, you only pay taxes to Finland. So that's cool. But yes, you will have to pay taxes in Finland regardless. Great question. Then the next question comes from Peter, again from Peru. And the question is, where can I see how can I get a scholarship for bachelor's degrees as a foreign student? Again, we've already gone through this a couple of times during the stream, but basically scholarships in Finland are provided by each university separately. And each university in Finland has a separate scholarship program for international students. This means that the type of scholarships, how many scholarships there are, how large the scholarships are, how to apply for them, etc., it all depends on the university itself. And to find information about scholarships for each university, you have to Google the university name and scholarship. Again, let's give an example here. So for example, if we're looking at Aalto University scholarships, Google Aalto University scholarships. And from here, go to scholarships and tuition fees Aalto University, and from here go downwards, go to headline scholarships or the heading scholarships, and then from here you can find all the information that you need about the scope of the scholarships, how to apply for the scholarships, scholarship decisions, and the duration of the scholarships. In addition, do note that I have 2 videos on my channel explaining scholarships in a lot of detail. For example, whether or not you have to pay taxes from your scholarships. So for all of that kind of information, go to my channel, check out the scholarship videos that I already have on the channel. Cool. Let's see, excuse me. So actually, let's jump super quickly into the chat. Let's see. So Alex Fan is asking, can I find work in Finland if I'm coming on a visitor visa? And am I able to work there? I'll need to go back to my country and apply for a work permit or residence permit to come there. Is that possible? My understanding is that if you are not... okay, so let's put it this way. This is complicated. So it depends on what kind of a visa you're coming to Finland based on. So if you're coming here with a tourist visa, my understanding is that you're not allowed to work. However, there are multiple types of specialized visas or residence permits for people who are coming here to work for a short period of time. And for example, different residence or work permits for students. There's different work permits for specialists who are very highly educated and who come to work in projects here for a short period of time, and so on. So I would say that please check out the Finnish Immigration Service. So again, as an example, go to migri.fi/en. That's the Migri is the Finnish Immigration Service, and from here go to permits and citizenship. And I know that Harry is answering you in the chat, but I'm just giving more information here. From the left, go to residence permits. Excuse me. Then from here, first residence permit. Still working here on the left, and then working in Finland. And from here, you can then find more information about all the different permits that you can apply for if you want to work in Finland for a short or a longer period of time. Cool. Let's see. So Harry, let's see what Harry said about the topic. So Harry is saying that the first residence permit has to be applied from your home country, so you cannot basically apply for a permanent residency. Oh, so you cannot apply for a residence permit based on work if you are in Finland on a basically tourist visa. Yeah, that's actually true, and that's a very good point. Thanks, Harry, for making that point. That's absolutely true. You need to apply for the residence permit from your home country. So you cannot just come to Finland and then apply for a residence permit to work here from here. So you need to have a residence permit separately to work in Finland. All right, the next question in the forum comes from Jess Velasco. Welcome, Jess, back to the stream. Awesome to have you here. And Jess comes from the Philippines, and she has not yet decided whether or not she wants to study in Finland, but is interested in doing a master's in travel management, and specifically at the University of Eastern Finland, which is awesome. Great school. My brother has done his degrees there, currently working on his PhD in biology. Good school. Very good school. The question is, hey Oliver, it's me again, Jess. What's up, Jess? Welcome back. Thanks for answering my question last time. You're most welcome. Originally, I don't have any plans of going back to school after I had my bachelor's and work plus a lot of work experience, but someone offered me to study a master's there in Finland, and I checked that the University of Eastern Finland is the best university for me. I looked at the migri.fi, so the Finnish Immigration Services website, and their guidelines for those who want to study there. I found out that I have to show this amount of, I have to show a 5-digit amount of money to sustain my life there for 2 years. My question is, should I really have to show in the embassy the exact amount that's good for 2 years, or can I show just a partial amount and then work for the remaining amount? Jess, if you are still live, let me know in the chat. This is a very good question. So actually, there's 2 options for you to do here. So either you can apply for, okay, let's go a bit backwards. So when you apply for a residence permit specifically to study in Finland, the Finnish Immigration Service, which grants the residence permits, they are not going to allow you to support yourself financially doing work during the first year of when you have your first residence permit still ongoing. So what this means is, so if you go to the Finnish Immigration Services website, first residence permit, studying in Finland, and then means of support from the left here, and excuse me, excuse me. So, what they say here is that a residence permit for studies can be granted for 2 years if you can prove that you have sufficient financial resources for your entire stay in Finland. So for the entire duration of the 2-year permit. In that case, you have to have at least 560 euros at your disposal every month to be able to pay for your accommodation, food, and other needs. Meaning that for a 2-year stay, you must have 13,440 euros. So that's 560 times 24 months at your disposal at the time when you apply for a residence permit. However, Jess, this is very specific for you. If you only want to want the residence permit for 1 year at a time, you must have 6,720 euros at your disposal on your own bank account. So what this means is that you can actually apply for a 1-year permit, and then after that, or just before that permit expires, you will then have to apply for an extension to that permit, meaning that when you apply for an extension, you need to have, again, at least this amount of money, and you have to have progressed with your studies at a satisfactory pace in order for the immigration service to extend your permit. What is also very interesting here is that when you are applying for an extended permit, you may secure, meaning you are allowed to secure your means of support with work. However, your work may not slow down your studies. Your studies must progress at a normal pace. So this is very interesting and important for anyone who wants to, for example, support their stay in Finland with part-time work. Basically, during your first year, if you apply for a 1-year permit in the beginning, during your first year, you're not allowed to support yourself financially by working. However, after or when you apply for an extension to the permit, then you are allowed to work for your to support yourself financially. However, do still note that getting a part-time job, especially if you are a bachelor student, for Jess, that's a different thing for you because you're a master student, or you're going to be a master student. Regardless, if you are a bachelor student, it is very difficult to find a part-time job that is going to pay enough for you to both pay for your tuition as well as your living costs. It is quite easy to find a part-time job that will cover all of your living costs. However, combining your tuition and living costs with a part-time job is almost impossible. So just take that into account. All right, the next question before I pass out is from Kuldeep, who comes from India. And Kuldeep is starting school this semester at the YAMK University of Applied Sciences, doing his degree, bachelor's degree in tourism. And the question is, hi Oliver, I'm starting my studies next month, but I have a problem. In order for me to get a study permit, I have to prove that I have enough funds, meaning a certain amount of money in my bank account. So basically the exact same thing that we were just talking about. The problem is that I don't have 6,000 euros as of right now. What do I do? Basically, there's only one thing to do here. You have to be able to somehow get yourself enough funds to get that 6,000 euros in total, whether that be from your parents or for example, some people do take student loans. I'm not a financial advisor, so please don't take this as a financial advisement. Also, I personally do not prefer student loans. However, you have to be, there's no other way for you to do this except getting that 6,000 euros in order for you to come to Finland for this semester. So unfortunately, it's pretty simple at this point. What's up, Alexi? Welcome, man, to the stream. Awesome to have you here. Thank you for the, once again, super precise €2.12 super chat. When will we do a tipsy live stream together? Alexi, actually, let's talk about that next week. I'm actually going to be in Kuopio next week, so out of town. And I was thinking about actually doing a stream on from Kuopio, so that would be actually fun. And I would actually be interested in joining you on your stream if you want to, if you're able to include me somehow. But also it would be awesome to have some kind of a collaborative live stream a bit later, for example, at the end of this month. By the way, Alexi, holy crap, let me know if you're sweating in Espoo. This is just horrible, absolutely horrible. It's like 32 degrees at the office right now. I'm just crying right now. It's so warm. It's not supposed to be this hot in Finland. It's just insane. Oh, jeez, that's terrible. Oh, jeez. Anyway, where was I going? Alex is saying I'm literally boiling. So one thing that you guys have to know about us Finnish people is that we like to complain. So it doesn't matter what the weather is, what the season is, we're always complaining about something. In the autumn, it's always too wet and dark and cold. In the winter, there's too much snow, too little snow. It's too cold. It's too warm, and all the snow melts. During the summer, it's always either too hot or too cold. Too much rain, too little rain. The sun isn't out. The sun is too much out. So we are always complaining about the weather. It doesn't matter what it is, and it's very typical for us to say, right now, complain that it's so freaking hot. In 1 month, if it gets colder, you're going to hear me complain about, why, where's the sunshine? Where's the sunshine? It's so cold. What the hell kind of a summer is this? So yeah, it's it's very Finnish to complain about the weather, no matter what kind of a weather it is, good or bad, or there's always something to complain about. That's us Finnish people. Anyway, having said this, the next question comes from Rashni Kalsaria, who comes from India and who is starting school this semester at the Turku University of Applied Sciences, doing his bachelor's in IT. And the question is, my name is Rashni Kalsaria. I'm from India. I have applied for information and communication technologies in bachelor's, and I got an offer letter from the Turku University of Applied Sciences. Congratulations, that's absolutely awesome. Yay, let's all give a big hand to Rajni from India for getting an admission offer from Turku University of Applied Sciences. That's absolutely brilliant. He's saying, I'm currently in India and working as a computer hardware engineer, and I have 4 years of work experience previously. My question is, can I do a job in computer hardware shop as an engineer? In a computer hardware shop as an engineer, and what are the requirements? So that's actually an interesting question. So I don't really know what you're meaning with computer hardware shops. We don't really have, for example, if you're talking about like actual stores that sell hardware or computers, we don't really have any engineers working in them. However, I don't see any reason why you couldn't apply for computer scientist jobs in any IT companies or technology consultancy companies, considering that you already have a degree plus already prior work experience. Do note that the IT sector in Finland is having a huge boom. So there's a lot of demand for really talented computer scientists. So I would definitely recommend that you apply for as many jobs as possible in your field. Not only it's good money, the pay is really good in the field, and you might actually be able to get a very decent offer because you already have a degree. So I would say this is my advice because I'm not quite sure what you mean with computer hardware shops. Anyway, Alex is sending another €2 super chat saying, use this to invest in a tax refundable fan. I think I will get something here. It's unbearable right now. I'm not sure if you can see it. My shirt is just absolutely soaked. The problem is that I actually have a big window right there, but I can't keep it open during the streams because there's way too much noise coming from the street. Especially a lot of bikers like to drive in front of the office, so there's a lot of noise coming in. So unfortunately, I have to keep the windows closed. But I guess I have to get a van here because it's just insanely hot right now here. Again, sorry, complaining. There you go. Moving on. Anyway, thanks, man. I appreciate it. That will be definitely be spent on a tax refundable fan. Thank you very much. Anyway, by the way, I will have tax refundable beverages for us when I come back from Kuopio. So keep that in mind. Then the next question comes from Recht, who comes from... okay, never mind. The next question comes from Tarag Aziz, who comes from Bangladesh, and Tarag is... Tarag he has a question here. Hi Oliver, for 2 years, for a 2-year master's degree, do I need to show living expenses in a bank account to renew my second-year study residence permit, or do I get 2-year visa at a time during the first year? So yeah, so this is what we spoke about previously. So you can either apply for a 1-year permit or a 2-year permit. So at the same time. So either one of them basically when you apply. So if you apply for a 1-year degree for, okay, let's let's go back a bit words. Let's go back. I'm so freaking tired of this heat. So if you are coming to Finland for a 2-year degree, so you have two options. You can either apply for a 2-year residence permit, which lasts for the duration of your degree. And in that case, you have to also show the amount of money that you need for 2 years when you apply for the residence permit. The other option is for you to apply for a 1-year residence permit, and then you need to only show the money for 1 year. And then when you apply for an extension after that first year, or just before the first permit expires, then you will need to show your funds for the second year. So if you don't have 13,440 euros on your account right now, apply for a 1-year degree, which requires you to have 6,720 euros, I think. And then before that first permit expires, apply for an extension, and then you need to show the same amount of money on your account. Great question. Jess saying in the chat, thanks Oliver. Yes, I'm still watching your live stream. Awesome. Thanks for breaking down the points that I needed to know for my question. Awesome. Thank you very much. That's great to hear, Jess. Hopefully you got some value out of the answer. Talking of which, if you guys are actually getting some value out of the stream, even though we got basically flooded by another streamer's lovely followers, if you're getting value out of the stream, hit the like button so that we can get over 50 likes for the stream. That would be highly appreciated, because that tells YouTube that you're actually getting value from the stream, and it pushes the stream to other people as well. Awesome. Before I jump into the next question in the form, quick drink, and while I'm having a drink, just if you have any questions that you would like me to answer right now, you can actually post a question in the chat. Excuse me. Please post a question in the chat by writing Q in front of the question and then your question. And I will take a couple of questions from the form while waiting. And then when there's enough questions in the chat, I will pick maybe 2-3 of them, answer those quickly, and then I will get back into the form. So again, Q and then your question, and I will get to the questions from the chat in just a second. All right. So while waiting, the first question comes from Ashok. I'm sorry, the next question from the forum comes from Ashok, who comes from Nepal. Ashok is also a regular on the channel, which is highly appreciated. And Ashok is starting school this semester, doing a master's in computer sciences. And he's saying, I'm joining Aalto University for a 2 years master's program in computer sciences. Recently, I got a housing offer from AYY in Leppävaara area. I wanted to know, how is the commute from the area compared to other housing location? This looks a bit far. Do you know how the area is, and will the distance affect my lifestyle? So let's actually see, check this out together. So Leppävaara is in the city of Espoo, so it's actually not that far. And if you think about it, Leppävaara is here. Aalto University campus is right here, so the distance is very, very short indeed. It's actually very short. Let's see. So it's, with public transportation, it's only 20 minutes from Leppävaara to Aalto, so it's absolutely nothing. Accept the offer immediately. What I know about Leppävaara, it's a very lovely neighborhood, a very safe one. It's close to the nature. For example, you have this beautiful Laajalahti, how do you say, bay here, which is awesome. And there's a lot of parks, for example, close by. Leppävaara, a very good neighborhood, very, very safe one. It's also not as expensive as closer to the center. So I would say that absolutely accept the offer right away. It only takes 20 minutes to the campus. It takes maybe 20 minutes to the campus, and then from there, 10 minutes with the metro to the center of Helsinki. So half an hour to the center of Helsinki. And for example, I live here in Jätkäsaari. From here to Aalto University campus, it takes whoops, oh sorry, you guys can't see it here. So I'm actually living here in Jätkäsaari district in or the neighborhood in Helsinki. From here to here, we have a direct metro line, so it takes 15 minutes to go to Otaniemi. So it's actually just 5 minutes more for you from Leppävaara to Aalto University campus. So it's actually very well located. So absolutely accept it right now, and please consider yourself lucky for getting an apartment offer from AYY, because the apartments are not only very affordable, but they're actually very nice as well. Awesome. Woosah, 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 woosah. Ah, holy crap, holy crap. I need to jump into the ocean after this with my clothes on. Anyway, the next question comes from Georgie, and after this question, I will jump into the questions in the chat. So just bear with me. So this question comes from Georgie, who comes from Russia and is already studying in Finland. He's already doing his degree in bachelor's degree in data sciences at Aalto University, which is awesome. And the question is, how impactful is the university GPA when looking for work after completing a bachelor's degree? I'm currently studying in a university in Finland and rocking a very good grade so far. I enjoy studying a lot, but I noticed that my network building skills are lacking. The pandemic and distance learning doesn't really help. I totally understand that. Would I be able to somewhat rely on my grades after university, or is work extremely difficult to find without professional context? Great question. Georgie, in your, I'm sorry, Georgi, is it? No, it's not Georgie, it's Georgi, right? Georgi in Russia, I think. Sorry about that. So in your case, since you're doing actually data sciences, data sciences is in super high demand right now. So I would say that you're not going to have any issues finding any kind of jobs in after graduation. Of course, consider that you're still doing your bachelor's and you're going to continue for your master's at Aalto University. So for example, for the during the summers, apply for summer jobs, maybe internships, etc. And those will then help you a lot when you are applying for full-time jobs after graduation or before graduation. However, to your question, yes, when you are looking for your first jobs, meaning the first jobs in your field, in those cases, your grades matter quite a bit, because of course, when people are doing their first years in bachelor's, there's not really that many things that separate applicants from each other, because not that many people have actual work experience or previous work experience. So this is why many employers look at the grades in the beginning, especially when looking for junior employees. So absolutely good grades when you are doing your bachelor's is definitely going to help you out in your job application. Georgi, would you like to contact me on Discord? If you could actually send me a DM on Discord, I would actually really like to hear from you personally about what how have you liked your studies and what kind of career you're planning for yourself. And so just go to the Discord channel server that we have. If you're not a member yet, there's a link in the description box below. And actually, if for some reason someone of you is not yet a member of our Discord server, I highly recommend that you join. Basically, in the server, we have over 600 people there helping each other out with all these kind of questions. And there's a link in the chat right now. So yeah, Georgi, please contact me on Discord, send me a DM there, and I would love to hear a bit more about what your plans for your future are. Anyways, before we jump into the next question, let's jump into the chat for a few of the questions that you guys posted. So, first we have Anastasia Volkova, who is asking, how early should you look at apartments in the private market before you start, the start of your lease? So Anastasia, this depends on whether or not you have actually already applied for student apartments. So if you have applied for student apartments and you do not hear from the student apartment providers half a month before you need to move in, I would then start really quickly look for private market apartments. I would not start looking for them earlier, simply because sometimes the student apartment providers send you the offer quite late. And this is usually because you have applied for student apartments very late. So if you have not yet done so, this applies to every single one of you. If you're coming to Finland to study, please apply for student apartments now. If you haven't done so, stop watching this stream and go and apply for student apartments right now. Because if you do not do so now or very soon, it is highly likely that you will be left out from student apartments, and that means that you have to pay almost double the rent because you have to find something from the private market. So please take this into account. Then we have a question from Malik Azar. The question is, what is the difference between different apartment types as a studio with common kitchen, and shared one? Great question. So a shared apartment is basically a apartment where you have multiple people with their own rooms, and then you have a shared kitchen and a shared bathroom. Then if you have a studio with a shared kitchen, if you have a studio with a common kitchen, depends a bit on the apartment provider. But for example, with Hoas, I actually used to live in a studio with a common kitchen. What it means is that we had in our floor, we had, I think, like 15 apartments, and we had our own bathrooms and our own showers, etc. But then the whole floor used the same kitchen. So we had one big, massive kitchen with multiple appliances, freezers, fridges, etc. And all of everyone in the same floor used the same kitchen. However, then of course we had our own bathrooms, which was really great. Those kind of apartments, very nice, super nice, excellent, because they are not as expensive as apartments that have their own kitchen, but they were still large enough that I really loved them. I lived in this kind of a studio for a year and a half before I moved in with my girlfriend. And then studios are just one-room apartments that are for one person, where you have one big room, and then you have your own bathroom and a shower, and then you also have some kind of a kitchenette or kitchen, either a separate kitchen or a small kind of kitchen corner or something like this. Great question. Let's see. Then we have a question from... We have a question from Marco Zoppellaro. I'm sorry for butchering your last name. The question is, do you think it is worth to stay in an unfurnished apartment for a 3-month stay? Yeah, this is actually a very good question. Okay, let's put it this way. If you have an opportunity to get an apartment with furniture, I would always prefer that. However, the problem here is that you don't always have that option. So in those cases, staying in an apartment that is unfurnished is still a good option, because the student apartments are much cheaper than apartments from the private market, and depending on the city, you might quite easily find secondhand furniture, and other stuff that you actually need in the apartment. So you don't necessarily even have to pay full price for, or you should not have to pay full price for furniture for the 3-month long stay. But if you have the option to apply for furnished apartments for such a short stay, I would always prefer that in your case. Great question. Then we have one more question in the chat which comes from Gilnena Vergara, and the question is it correct that the people in reserve slots gets in after the last day of accepting courses where you got in at Opintopolku? Is it correct that the people in reserve slots get in after the last day of accepting courses where you got in at Opintopolku? Yeah, this is actually a good question. I'm not quite sure. So what Gilnela is referring to is that if you did not get admitted to a university in Finland, but you were put on a reserve slot, so you're, for example, in the reserve spot of number 2, so meaning that if 2 people cancel their admission, then you would move 2 spots forward, and you would then get a spot at the university. And what Gilnela is talking about the after the last day for accepting your admission offer, she's referring to the fact that students have, to a certain time, they have a strict deadline before which they have to accept their admission offers. If they do not do that, then their offer will be cancelled. So in these cases, I think that sounds logical, but I'm not 100% sure whether this is the kind of last opportunity for you. However, it would sound logical to my mind. So don't trust me 100% on this, but for me, it sounds like it might be true. All right. Onurkan Yildiz asking a very good question in the chat. Oliver, do you know which supermarkets are usually the cheapest? I would like to calculate my grocery prices from their websites. Lidl, which is a German retail chain, is usually the cheapest one. Also, a good rule of thumb in Finland is that the bigger the market, the cheaper the prices are. The smaller the grocery store, the more expensive they are. So we have big supermarket, for example, in the center of each city. They are especially located in shopping centers. And Lidl, so Lidl, is the German retail chain that came to Finland some years ago. And they are specifically kind of, their thing is that they have cheapest prices in Finland. So I would highly recommend Lidl for you. All right, the next question comes from Ashok, and the question is: Are you planning on making a video related to writing effective motivation letters for Finnish job market? Whether or not, can you please provide some good points not to miss out on a good motivation letter? Yeah, so if we're talking about a motivation letter for the job market versus for universities, these are 2 completely different things. So I would not talk about them in the same sentence. To answer your question, I'm actually in the process of making a video about motivation letters and application letters to Finnish in the Finnish job market. That is also going to be a part of my job hunting course that I'm working on, which is going to be most likely released at the end of summer. If you guys are interested in learning more about the job hunting course that I'm working on, is basically the idea of the course is to help you guys cut a lot of corners and find your first jobs months and months faster than you would normally do on your own. And the course is going to include more than 5 hours of material, so video material, more than 5 hours. So 5 modules, around 30 lectures about everything that you need to know about job hunting in Finland. When to look for jobs, where to look for jobs from, how the actual job application process works in Finland, how to negotiate your salary, what kind of documents you need, how to write your motivation letter, how to do your CV, how to use LinkedIn, what are your legal rights as a job seeker in terms of discrimination, harassment, etc. So everything that you need to know about job hunting in Finland will be included in the course. It will be a paid course. Unfortunately, it has taken me more than 6 months to actually create the course. So this is the reason why it's paid. Me and my old colleague, I'm actually working with my old colleague who has over 10 years of experience in the field in recruitment, and we're kind of pouring everything that we know about the market into the course. And I'm not quite sure how much it's going to cost when it's released. But if you're interested in the course, sign up to the waiting list that I just linked into the chat, and you will be the first person to know about, for example, early bird discounts for the course. So there you go. About some of the points in terms of motivation letters, it's very difficult to say because it always depends on what kind of a job you're applying for. Again, hence why we're actually doing a long video about this into the course, because kind of these generalized tips are not usually that good, but rather if I would give you one good solid advice is to stop thinking about yourself and start thinking about the company. Why should the company hire you? What kind of value are you bringing into the company? Instead of, I just want to work here. It's a cool company. No. Forget about that. Tell them, why should they hire you? What kind of value are you bringing into them with your experience and expertise? So every time you write a motivation letter or an application letter, or job application letter, you have to customize the letter for that company that you're applying to. If you do not customize your motivation letters, you will absolutely fail almost every single time. Guaranteed. Just letting you know. Jetkoti asking a very interesting question in the chat. Oliver, what was your motivation behind this channel? That's actually a good question. My motivation for the channel was basically based on the fact that I actually have a lot of international friends in Finland who studied here, their degrees here. And we, of course, over the years, I've heard so many complaints from them about how difficult many things are and how many issues they have and why the information is all over the place on the internet and on university websites. I just wanted to spread information about all of this kind of stuff. And my first videos were about student housing and scholarships, and those kind of rocketed themselves. And then from there on, I've just started building this. And actually, my idea, my mission for this channel is actually to help 10,000 international students to actually get to Finland, to get their degrees and actually get hired into Finnish companies. So it's basically, I want more people, highly talented people, to come to Finland, because we are absolutely screwed if we don't get enough international talent into Finland. Of course, this is currently my job, so I need to get income from this as well. So that's also a slight motivation, but that's why I have sponsors on the channel, so that I don't have to ask you for anything. Then on the other hand, the course that I'm releasing, I have to make it a paid course because it has taken me so much time to do. Plus it has taken time from my colleague, like hundreds of hours from my colleague as well, that we have to make it paid so that we can actually pay ourselves back, because if not, we would just lose money, unfortunately. So because we don't have any sponsors for the course. So there. Awesome. Then let's see, what else do we have? The next question from the forum comes from Wajeh, who comes from Pakistan, and is starting school this semester at the Tampere University, doing his master's in AI and robotics. Very interesting, super interesting. And the question is, can I acquire a Finnish study permit through the Finnish embassy in Germany? I'm currently enrolled in a master's program in Frankfurt, and I'm on a German study visa, but I do have a Finnish master's admission letter. My preference is Finland over Germany. That's a very good question, Wajih. Please contact the Finnish embassy in Frankfurt to ask about this. Personally, I don't see any reason why not. It would be completely insane if you had to actually go back to Pakistan, to the local embassy there. So please contact the Finnish embassy or mission in Frankfurt about this and ask them, because I'm not sure about it, but they, of course, will be more than happy to help you out. And then second question, actually, is it possible to acquire a Finnish study permit from my home country, as we do not have an embassy here, and we have to go to the designated Finnish embassy in Abu Dhabi? And Abu Dhabi has actually banned visa visits from Pakistan, so that's a dead end. Oh, that sucks. All right, so yeah, so in that case, I would absolutely, in your shoes, I would absolutely contact the Finnish embassy in Frankfurt and ask whether or not you can go there to as a part of the residence permit application process. Great. So Gilnella asking a very interesting question in the chat, which I unfortunately I'm not able to explain to the full live, because I actually don't understand it fully myself either. But she's asking, I also asked this on the Google form, can you please explain a bit about the avoimen ammattikorkeakoulun opintopolkuhaku or polkuopinnot, which is basically open university application. Does this mean that you take the first 2 years and then after that apply on actual degree? So no, not yes or no. So what in Finland we have something called open university, which means that you can study university degrees. Study a university course and courses even if you're not enrolled at the university. However, what this open application path, what it means is that if you study in this open university and you do extremely well, you have to be at the top like 5% of all the students. If you do really well in this open university, you might be granted an admission to that universities afterwards. However, to be honest, I don't remember if this applies to international students. So that's why I don't really want to talk about this anymore. I would recommend that you Google and actually look into this a bit more yourself. And however, as a general rule, if you cannot find enough information about this in English, that is usually that usually tells you that it does not apply to international students. But again, I don't remember the information myself, so you have to take that into account. Anyways, at this point, guys, I would have to thank everyone for joining the stream, for sending all the excellent questions. We've been going on for 2.5 hours now, and I'm absolutely soaked. I'm going to most likely pass out in just a moment because I'm losing so much electrolytes by sweating. It's just way too warm at the office to continue the stream anymore this week. I do apologize for everyone who did not get their question answered this week. There's around 10-ish questions in the form left, but don't worry if you did not get your question answered this week. I will start the next live stream with the questions that were left over from this week. Again, thank you so much for the excellent discussion in the chat. Thanks, Jet, for agreeing on becoming a moderator. That's highly appreciated, and thanks for the support as always. Also, thank you again for the excellent questions both in the chat as well as in the form, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.